Hey, what's up, guys? Little different video this time, a little bit random, but have things on my mind I want to say, and I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and hopefully, if you're watching this video and dealing with bullying, this video will be helpful. So I'll try to not talk too much and just get to the points. I want to talk about how to approach bullying when you're getting bullied. Now, there's two types of bullying. There's the most common one, which is typically in grade school, where someone's just picking on you, whether you're because you're too skinny, you're nerdy, you're overweight, and they're taking your lunch money, they want to fight you, they're picking on you. That's one type of bullying, which I'm going to get into right now in a second. The second type of bullying is a little bit more on the adult level slash corporate level, where there's bullying happening in the workplace. So let's start with the first common bullying, everyday bullying in grade school. There's a few approaches that you can take. The first thing that you want to do, in my opinion, is if someone is bullying you, I think you should go directly to the source, to the person. This might not work, but it's the best approach, in my opinion, before you get other people involved. So someone's bullying you, let's say you're in sixth grade, someone's bullying you, and you be cordial about it, but you firmly tell them to cut it out and to stop and to ask them what their problem is. That's the first thing, and hopefully it stops. It's a good chance that it's not going to stop, unfortunately. So that's the one thing you can do. The second thing that you can do, and some people are probably against it, and depending on your DNA and how you're brought up, but that is to tell your parents and or tell the school district, and hopefully the school district can rectify the situation. Unfortunately, I hear a lot of stories, and administration, they don't really do that much, but hopefully in your situation that doesn't happen. But that is another approach. The third approach is to transfer schools. This one's a little bit lower on the priority, because I feel like if you're constantly running away from your problems, um, you're going to be a doormat. Do you want to be a doormat your entire life? You should be able to stick up for yourself, but some people are not that confrontational, and I'm not judging. So if you have the resources and your parents can transfer you to another school and start off on a clean slate, then so be it. The other option, that the next option that I'm going to talk about, is you cannot do anything, which is completely dumb. uh, I should say dumb, but you just can't do that. You can't let people run all over you. You can't just take a beating and allow it to happen. And I've seen it happen. There's actually a movie, and it didn't get that much publicity, surprisingly, but it's called Bully, Bully, and it's a documentary. And there's, not to go too much on a tangent, but the kid, I remember a couple scenes. I saw it a few years ago. It was a while back, but there's one scene where the kid's just, constantly just getting hit. He's not doing anything. So that is, in my opinion, not really an option. And last but not least, for first type of bullying, this common type of bullying that I'm going to discuss, what you can do, and this is to take matters in your own hands. And I don't promote violence. I don't believe that there's just not really a place in society. I shouldn't say not a place, but it should be a last resort. But I was brought up and taught that you don't start fights. You can talk it out, verbalize, but as soon as someone physically attacks you, and even if you give them a warning and you tell them to stop, you have every right to defend yourself. You do, okay? And what's going to happen during that fight? I don't know. It's a 50-50, right? You can win the fight, you can lose the fight, or it can be what do you call it? Neutral. But in the process, based on my experience, and I've gotten in a lot of fights when I was a kid, that's for another discussion, but I used to fight all the time because I was smaller and I used to fist fight. Usually, if you put up a good fight, you're gonna get a little bit more respect, and the bully will typically, because a lot of bullies, they're cowards. Pretty much all of them are. For whatever reason, they have probably, you know, family problems at home. They're not raised correctly. They're a little bit. Not all kids are born, evil, but nonetheless, they just don't have a filter, and they want to, you know, um, assert their authority over smaller people, weaker people. So they don't have that much heart. So what they'll do is, if you take their heart out and you fight back, there's a good chance that they're gonna just move on to the next victim, unfortunately. But at least they're gonna get off your back. So that's what I recommend. You shouldn't fight, but if you have to, you might have to take matters in your own hands. But I do recommend the other options first. Talk it out with the person. Maybe go to administration. I never went to the school teachers because they don't really do anything. Now, maybe you'll get lucky. If you're very non-confrontational, that's completely fine. I'm not judging. But the moment someone puts hands on you, you have to defend yourself. And you know, my channel is, it's not a fighting channel, although I do have a background in taekwondo and martial arts and wrestling. But being active and being fit and maybe taking up some self-defense classes is going to help boost your self-esteem and to get you a little bit more athletic. And then being athletic in general, you're going to just be more mobile and usually more confident and typically stronger depending on the sport. But usually when you're in sports and health and fitness, it's an added bonus. So that's my take with the first form of bullying. I would probably refrain from like weapons and stuff. That's just not, unless your life is depending on it. Because I mean, if you're like 14 or 15 years old, you could get tried as an adult. It's a scary situation. Now you want to just do enough, but if you put the guy down, I understand you're going to be really frustrated, but once he's down, it should just be over with. I don't shouldn't be stomping on the guy's head when he's already unconscious. That's just overkill. So just use your discretion, defend yourself, and hopefully things will get better. Now, the second form of bullying, real quick, I want to get into is in the corporate workforce, in the workplace. As far as me, I'm not sure if I've been like bullied, but I've been in situations where I wasn't in position to voice my opinion as much. I was a student or a resident, whatever you want to call it, not to get into too much detail, but I have been picked on in a slight different way. But if someone is bullying you at work and they're causing a lot of havoc, there's a couple things you can do. One thing, which is similar to the first type of form of bullying, is to just approach the person, ask them what's up, what's the problem, am I doing something wrong? Find out what the 411 is on that, and hopefully they'll stop. And you got to assert your authority and say, this is not acceptable, cut it out, or find out what the problem is, and they may back off like that. If they continue to do it while it's happening, the second thing that you can do is you want to start documenting what they're doing. They might be setting you up for failure. They might be spreading rumors about you. Just doing a lot of malicious crap that you would think an adult wouldn't have to resort to, but unfortunately there's a lot of scumbags and pricks out there, and they come in all shapes and sizes and different forms, and you need to document and have it ready. So if you do have to go to HR, then you'll have some documentation and have proof. And speaking of the HR, you can go to HR, go to administration, but I don't know if you're going to be able to, or if HR is going to be able to do anything kind of similar to the first situation with, being in school. But definitely document it, approach the person, and then the last thing you could do is change jobs. Now, the difference between this form of bullying and advice compared to the first form of bullying, as far as transferring schools. Is with work, it's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit more flexibility, and if you don't like work and there's a better opportunity somewhere else, it's a little bit easier just to switch jobs. Whereas in the first form of bullying, when you're at school, it's kind of hard to just switch schools unless you go to a different private school, because if you go to a public school, there's like different zones, public zones, and you have to go to certain schools and you have to show evidence of living there. So that's about it for this video. It's getting a little bit too long, so hopefully that was a little bit useful and helpful. And if you are watching this video and you have been bullied before, I'd love to hear your experiences if you're comfortable. And if you're watching this video and you're dealing with bullying currently, I would just take my piece of advice, and sometimes it gets to a point where you got to put your foot down and take matters in your own hands. And then also, if you are going through some bullying and you want someone to reach out to, just hit me up on the Facebook. All social media is in the description box. Leave a comment or email me, sanitary103@gmail.com. And if you need a helping hand or someone to just talk to, let me know. I'll try to get to your message as best as possible, because in this day and age, it's just not, there's just kids like committing suicide, for goodness sake. And it's just really, really unfortunate. And sometimes kids, especially kids, impressionable kids, they just want to be heard. They want an outlet and they want some hope. And when you feel like there's no hope, this is when things can just go downhill very, very quickly. Someone like me in my late 30s, someone's going to bully me, well, I'm going to address them specifically, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to be a tough guy about it, but I'm not going to let someone walk all over me. That's just the way it goes. But when you're young and you're 14 years old, or 9 years old, 8 years old, whatever it is, even less than 18, 17, 16, I think the brain isn't fully developed till like 25. It's going to feel more intense, and it's going to be a lot of intensity, especially if you're an adolescent and you're going through all those changes. You're going through puberty, and your emotions are already up and down. There's a lot of physical and mental changes that are occurring at that age, between 12 and like 15, 16. And then you cake on bullying on top of it, and it's just, like I said, it can be a lot for someone to handle. So anyways, that's my time. Hopefully that was informative, and I'll catch you next video. Bye.